Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I'll start off and tell you a little story. When I was 16 years old, I grew up in Shelbyville, Tennessee, and I was 16 years old. Russ Countess, my youth minister, along with his youth minister, my grandfather in youth ministry, a guy named Darrell Willis, got together, and they put together a mission trip to Tegucigalpa, Honduras, to work with a clinic down there. And I got to go on this trip. It was my first time to go out of the country. It was my first time to go on a short-term mission trip. It was my first time to really get exposed to what that is all about. And to this day, if you ask my mom, she will tell you that after that trip, I was never the same. She will tell you that I came back just totally changed. In a lot of ways, I really did. I mean, for one, that, along with the encouragement of my own youth minister, started me on an interest in ministry. Literally since 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, I knew I was going to be an engineer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be an engineer. And then my senior year, I go on a mission trip to Honduras, and all of a sudden, I'm not applying to the tech colleges anymore. I'm applying to ministry schools. And it really did change my life. And so I'm a strong believer in short-term mission work. And that's why it was so exciting to be able to go on North Boulevard West's first foreign mission trip for students. It was so exciting to be able to do that. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that trip, the mission of it. And I'll tell you a little bit about what we did. I got some pictures. The media is over there, by the way, so I think most of you see that. Carrie didn't, but there it is. It's behind you, Carrie. Anyway, so we got to go on our first ever mission trip, and it was to a little town called El Valle. I'll tell you a little bit about the trip, but we started off, flew into Panama City, went to El Valle for a few days, worked with the church there. I'm expanding on all this. I just got some pics I'm showing. And there's that church there. And we ended up going to a small village out in the jungle and staying with some villagers there in hammocks that night and all that. I literally thought Kyle was eaten by a jaguar that night. I didn't get out of my hammock, though, because I was comfy. But anyway, while I had the best night's sleep of my life, I think Kyle had the worst night of his life. It was totally different. But anyway, we went and stayed in a little village there and then wrapped it up back in Panama City a few days later. We got to do some fun things together as a church group, as a small group, but we also got to go and do some service there with the church. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we did there, what we're probably going to be doing this summer. And I want to go ahead and preface it by saying, keep in mind that there's probably no more important word when it comes to doing a mission trip, maybe anything really, but especially doing a mission trip, there's probably no more important word than the word flexible. Because whereas we live in a culture and environment where we live by a clock, we live by time, we live by things, we have to plan things, and I'm a planner, and many of you are planners, and I'm probably some color on the chart that makes me a good planner. I don't know what color I am. Anyway, and
Green.
Is it green?
Well,
yeah, anyway. What? All right, whatever. Anyway, I'm sure I'm some color, but anyway, the thing is, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that what I'm going to be telling you here is keep in mind it's flexible. Like, these slides are truly made out of rubber. They're bendy, they're squishy, they're flexible, because as we progress and get closer to it, things may tweak a little bit. But I'm going to try and paint this in broad strokes. So tell you a little bit about the trip. We'll begin with flying into Panama City, which not Florida. So when I told people, where'd you go? I went to Panama City. Yeah, we went there for our spring break this year straight. A little bit different. There's a big waterway goes through it and giant ships. Anyway, so you start by flying into Panama City, and then we're going to be heading up into a what they hope is an extinct volcano, caldera, called a little town there called El Valle de Anton. So it's the valley, or Anton's Valley, and it's just like that. You look around and all you see is mountains on all three sides, because you are in the crater of the caldera of an empty volcano. It's a truly gorgeous place. Its population are about 7,600 people. Today in El Valle, it's about 79 degrees. With 130,000% humidity. And I'm just kidding. I don't know what humidity is, but I can't ever imagine that place not humid. But anyway, it's a nice day there now. And I don't know what just happened. And there's a little church there, and that church was planted by those who are our contacts there, who kind of help us set up all of this, David and Lisa Carter. And Lisa Carter is the one who led our trip down there. And she does this with churches. So they'll set up trips to take a church down there for around a week, and you get to stay at the church, at the building there. There's dorms for guys and girls there, and the local church there. And so we go and we work with that church that's located there. So anyway, it was planned by David and Lisa Carter. So I remember last year in this, the biggest question I got about it, and I wasn't leading the trip, I didn't know anything about it, but my daughter liked to ask me, but why are we really going, Dad? Like, why are we really going on this trip? Like, what are we going to do? Are we like digging wells for people? Or they don't need water, they got water. You just have to breathe. Did I mention it's humid? Anyway, it's like, why are we going there? And so I think this is a great question to answer. What is the mission? Like, what is it? So at its heart, we're going to work with the church there to encourage them and to support the impact that they have there in El Valle. So that's where we're going. They do have an established church there. They have their own minister that's on site there that works with them. The church is 50 people, 60? 50, 60 people or so. And so we're going to, first and foremost, encourage them. And I can't give it justice in words, but I'll tell you that they are so encouraged by having people from the States come down and love on them and come beside them in their work and excite them. And you know as well as I do, it doesn't matter where your church is. Churches have to stay encouraged. Churches have to keep that fire going. Churches have to be intentionally engaged in doing that. And so whenever people from the States come down, when we came down, we basically brought an injection of encouragement. And it's reflected really well, and it really shines a light and gives you some perspective on Paul's letters whenever you're reading about his missionary work and the things he did and the encouragement there. And all of a sudden, when I'm talking to some of the people back there on WhatsApp, it's almost like, I'm going to put myself in the position of Paul here, by the way, but it's almost like I get some of the things he said in his letters to people, that encouragement that they had and how he was encouraged by it. And so just going and being a part of that is a huge part of the mission and why we go down there. What we're going to do when we're there is one of the things we do is lead a family VBS style multi-night meeting. So we like to use the word VBS, but it's not really vacation for them because they're still in school. But at night we set it up. We sing with them. We worship with them. We do skits and teach with them. We'll break off and do things for the children and do things for the adults, and we'll do whole family things. But we lead this meeting that's just there to encourage them, and we do that at night, and they absolutely love it. So they'll bring their friends, but also, we'll have people that are walking back from like their second session school at 7 p.m. at night that just walked a couple of miles to get there. It's really neat. So it's a cool experience, and the teaching there and just us doing this, to be honest, I think if we did that like in the States and the way we did it here and everything, people go, well, that's kind of hokey, and it means so much to them though. It means so much, and it really isn't. You haven't lived till you've seen Kyle over there as Jesus. Every night he was Jesus. He's a super tall Jesus. Anyway, it's pretty awesome. And then also, we did some of this, and we're really looking to bolster this year, hopefully, and that's to serve those in the community. So we want to go and serve the people in the community. That's a pick there. We went to one house and dug a septic system, so which was huge. Outhouse is a way of life, but we went and dug an actual septic tank, which was awesome for them. Some of us went to a local school there and did some things with the local school and encouraged them. I think I had a picture of that up there earlier. But ultimately, the mission is to go and open ourselves up to just letting God use us in some way to be the conduit through which he changes lives. We never know what the seeds we plant, what the actions that we take, the little things we do, how God can use that and grow that and bolster that. And so that's ultimately the mission, is to go and change lives. And so it's easy sometimes to look at a week-long mission trip and say, what are we really doing? I mean, it's not like we're going there for a 3-year commitment. It's not like we're going to a place that's never heard Jesus and, going to this little tribal area out there and they don't even, and we're going in and we're going to spend their years and doing that. And it's easy sometimes to look at that kind of thing and go, how impactful is it really? And I just want to stand here and tell you that I believe it's not only impactful for the church there, but it's also extraordinarily impactful for our students, because it puts every one of us on that trip directly in the place of doing the things that were being done every day in the New Testament. And there's spiritual blessings that come from that you can't get, I believe, any other way than just doing the things that were done in the New Testament. So why Panama? I'll tell you a little bit about Panama. So we got connected to David and Lisa Carter because they're good friends of Randy and Kathy Williams. And so we have actually been talking about it for a couple of years now, the possibility of going there. And they had told us about the work that they'd been doing there and how great this work was, and just super excited, encouraged every time we talked to them about it. But I'll tell you a little bit about the country of Panama, because you might be going, okay, I love the idea of it. I don't know about sending my child to a Central American country. Wasn't something going on there in the 80s that was not good? Anyway, is it okay? First of all, Panama is really easy access. So as far as traveling to it, it's pretty easy on the whole get your visa, go in, go out kind of thing. It's a pretty easy access. And because of the connections we have there, I mean, Lisa ran this thing like a well-oiled machine. It wasn't get down there and we didn't know what was going on, because she is practically, her and Lisa are practically natives of that place. I mean, it was like being with the local missionaries. I mean, they walked us right through it. They actually moved back about a year and a half ago and live in Florida, but they're still down there all the time. They're still own a house down there. And so we've got really good access to Panama going in that route. So it's not like we're having to figure out everything here and then we're going to show up and meet everybody for the first time and all that. We have a person who really is our guide through that. Panama's a safe environment. Panama has a very low violent crime rate there. And I can tell you, I was there with my own children, as well as other children and all this, and we're walking around. And I mean, we are smart, of course. People don't run off on their own and do things. But at no point did we ever feel like we were in a shady environment or like we need to be concerned. I've been on mission trips to other countries, and it's not necessarily like that. You stay in groups to be safe. You stay in the right places to be safe. You don't ever want to go to the wrong places and things like that. I was on a mission trip in another country. A good friend of mine was leading a mission trip in another country, and they had to flee when a coup started. I mean, that kind of thing. Panama's a really stable place. It has a low violent crime rate. And like I said, it really does not feel like a place. And data shows it's really not a place that we have to be heavily concerned. People don't run off on their own, by the way. You don't say, yeah, you're just going off right yourself. But it really is a good environment. And like I said, at no point did we ever feel like we were concerned about our safety there. Also, there's an established body of believers there. And so it gives us a real good bounce off point to begin with. So we get to work with them to impact people in the community. Before we get there, they have things set up for us. They have opportunities to serve and connections to make in the community and that kind of thing. So we have that group to bounce off. And it's also a great way to introduce teens to the concept of missions. So like I told you my story before, I just think it's a great opportunity in a good way. And a lot of people who who really find themselves just finding their course and their gifts and using their gifts in Christ really get exposed to those when they go on these kind of mission trips. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Here's a few logistics about it. So just to kind of give you some nuts and bolts on it, we're looking at taking a 24-member team. So because of the size of the facilities and getting around and all that, it limits the size that we can take. So we're looking at taking a 24-member team. On that team, we're looking at about 7 adults and 17 students. Is kind of what we're going to go for there. So we want to be able to take as many students as we can take, while also having enough adults to be a part of it, to make sure that everybody's well taken care of. So who can go? So we want to honor returning students. So those who have been, we want to give them kind of dibs, if you want to say it, give them the opportunity to go back and continue their relationships there. And then we're going to mainly, like Russell was saying, try and focus on high school. And we probably will, as far as like open it up, what we talked about is, just start getting seniority, seniors, juniors. So if you're a freshman, you're like, oh, I'm a freshman, I'll never get to go. It's not like that. It really isn't. Like last year, I think we were all worried. Oh, nobody's going to get to go. We're going to try and do all we can, but we're going to start that and start working our way down on that. The tentative dates, and these are tentative, and I say tentative because sometimes if you tweak it a day or two, you can save a couple of $100. So our tentative dates are June, I think it's supposed to say 14th, my birthday. I didn't want to travel on my birthday, man. When's the party? Anyway, June the 14th to the 27th. I got 15th up there, but anyway, I got the little tilde means it's approximate. And then, you got things, prices change and stuff like that, but it's going to run somewhere probably around the $1,800 mark. So flight really is about half the cost of the trip. So it's going to run somewhere around the $1,800 mark. We're going to be doing, and we don't start talking about this now, but when we get our team together and kind of see who's what and all that, we're going to do a number of fundraisers, things to help offset the cost and stuff like that, which I think most of us did last year, and most of us got a lot of support from our church family here, through friends, through families, and stuff like that. And I don't love like raising funds for stuff personally. It's just kind of my little quirk, like doing letter writing, things like that. But I'll tell you this: raising funds isn't just about getting people to help pay for your trip. It's letting people be involved and contribute to that work. And then you come back and you get to talk to them about what you did. You get to expose them to them and stuff like that. And it's really a cool opportunity for them in that. So it has a couple of different benefits. So let's say you're interested and you're like, okay, I think I want to do the Panama thing. I'm really excited about it. Here's some next steps. One, start praying about it. So that's the first thing. You want to start praying about it. You want to pray for God's direction and on you on that, opening the doors for it and that kind of thing. Definitely, we want to surround this trip with prayer. We want this trip to be built on prayer. We want this trip to be traveled through with prayer. We want people on the trip and people here and people there praying for this trip and the time that God will use it in the way he wants to. Russell's going to have a sign up out here, so sign up. So that'd be a good thing. So if you're interested, if you sign up, it doesn't mean you're committed. It doesn't mean we're asking for anything or anything like that. Just getting an idea for us as we plan who's what. And then I got to say this, if you're not already there, you need to go ahead and start the passport process. Start looking at what you need for your passport. Start getting that together. Since COVID, passports are really taking a long time. And so some of us ended up, whose children had an expired passport or had an expiring passport, ended up paying like the extra bonus fees just to make sure it got here on time and all that. So I can't say that enough. Go ahead and start that process now. If you're still, I don't know if we're going or not, you do need to at least start looking up what do you need for a passport if you don't have one. So if you have a passport and your passport's expired, you want to start looking into that and that process for that. All right, that kind of concludes everything I have to say about Panama. Questions that Kyle can answer for you.